Welcome back to This is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Commander tough rules and cool interactions, episode 17. Today's episode is going to look at one of the new abilities releasing with the Streets of New Capenna set called Casualty. The comprehensive rules haven't yet been updated with Casualty, so I'll be pulling the rules text for it from the reminder text of one of the new Commander Precon cards called Anhelo the Painter. Casualty says, as you cast that spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power N or greater. When you do, copy the spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Of course, N being the numbers stated next to the actual Casualty ability. So this is a cool way to copy some spells, and this specific Anhelo commander kind of reminds me a bit of Wirt the Raid Mother, but now it's in Grixis colors and has a little bit of a sacrifice sub-theme. I saw this as a good way to dip our toes into a fairly complex part of the deeper rules of Magic, which is the steps in casting a spell. For most players, casting a spell in Magic is a very simple and easy process, which is good that it seems like that. It means that the folks at Wizards of the Coast are doing a good job with designing most of their cards and templating them in such a way. But really, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that when we cast certain spells to make sure that the game can account for all things and variables in different situations. Like I said, though, this episode will be a toe-dipping kind and not a deep dive into the steps of casting a spell. The section of the comprehensive rules that covers the steps to casting a spell is CR 601.2, and the subsections that we're going to be focusing on today are 601.2H and I. So let's propose a scenario that might pop up during one of your games of Commander. You have out your Anhelo, and you also have out a Monastery Swiftspear, which is a 1/2 creature with Prowess, which is a triggered ability that says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Your opponent is at 6 life, and you cast a Lightning Bolt for 3 damage, but you want to seal their fate right then and there by copying the bolt. So the mindset here is that I'm casting the Lightning Bolt, triggering the Swiftspear while it's on the stack, making it grow to a 2/3 creature, so big enough to sacrifice it to Anhelo's Casualty cost of 2 power creature. And then yay, I win. But sadly, that is actually not how it's going to work. Comprehensive Rules 601.2H covers the cost payment part of casting spells, and it says that the player pays the total cost first. They pay all costs that don't involve random elements or moving objects from the library to a public zone in any order. Then they pay all remaining costs in any order. And then the rest is not so important to this episode. And then Comprehensive Rules 601.2I covers the final step to casting a spell and says, once the steps described in 601.2A through H are completed, effects that modify the characteristics of the spell as it's cast are applied, then the spell becomes cast. Any abilities that trigger when a spell is cast or put onto the stack trigger at this time. If the spell's controller had priority before casting it, they get priority. So, what all that basically means is that the Monastery Swiftspear will not actually be a 2/3 creature during the time that you are required to pay for the Casualty. If you ever run into this sort of thing happening in a game, rather than getting all caught up in the technical word soup of the comprehensive rules, you can also just point out the rules reminder text on the cards themselves. Looking at Anhelo, we can see that the text says, as you cast that spell. And then on the Prowess card, we can see that it says, whenever you cast. as you can cast something that happens before it is completely finished casting. There's a whole lot more that we will be going into on this channel when it comes to the steps to casting spells, as well as activating abilities. They're quite similar, but maybe a little different. But that's all for another day. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that many of you did learn something as well. I've got tons more rules to cover, so please do subscribe for more episodes of Tough Rules and Cool Interactions in the future. Also, please do share any questions about cards and rules interactions that you have about the Capenna cards, or just any cards for that matter. But that's all I've got for today's episode. Have a good one. Ta-ta.